Welcome to NewtoMedia, where we connect you to the best service professionals and help you learn about great experiences all over the world. Your host today is Angela Duncan, an entrepreneur, a business coach, and an investor who loves connecting viewers to the best in Miami, Florida.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Zack Cockfield with NewtoMedia. I'm so excited to have Angela Duncan with us again. Angela is an entrepreneur in Miami, Florida, that we have had on the Newto podcast before because she is a mogul in a number of different industries. She's a business coach, and we had the opportunity to catch up with Angela recently so that we could connect on this show. Angela has a new business venture that she is going to have the opportunity to tell us about. Angela, thanks so much for being with us again. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, Zach. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Angela is going to give us some news about what's going on in Miami. If you're not familiar with NewtoMedia, one of the things that we try to always do is bring you great information about what is unique about cities all over the country, and in the process, introduce you to great professionals that you could work with if you move to those cities, or if you're just already in the area and want to connect with a great professional. We call it connecting you with the best, and Angela is one of those people. Angela, why don't you tell us about the business that you have now ventured into? I know you've been in this industry for some time, but tell us a little bit about your new venture.
Yeah. So yes, I've been in real estate since 2007. So I have seen a lot of cycles, and the current cycle is definitely one of the most difficult I've seen since I got into my career. And, you know, my coach, I have a business coach myself, said, it's great, but definitely need to diversify a little bit, right? What other industries that are similar to what you do, or partnerships that you can, create that also help the same type of clientele. So I'm not going out and opening like a milkshake shop, right? So I'm in real estate. Most people who have real estate need insurance. Most of my clients are business owners. They need insurance. So I recently have partnered with Renegade Insurance, and we're focused on commercial, like commercial property insurance and insurance for business owners, because we work really hard, but all of those billboards get paid by something, and those attorneys and those lawsuits. So I love, just educating business owners about what they need when it comes to business insurance as well.
Absolutely. And this is brilliant. I think for other business owners that are out there, whether they are in real estate or something real estate adjacent, like commercial insurance, Angela is doing something that I think a lot of business owners should think about. If their industry is slowing down a little bit, oftentimes it doesn't mean that you need to get out of that business altogether, but maybe you find something that's a great complement to that, so that you can obviously build up another income stream and serve another group of customers, but it also can be a way to better serve those customers that are already in the industry that you're presently in. So that's a brilliant move. It's probably a way for you to give even better service to those real estate clients that you've worked with for years, and make new connections, expand your network. So that's a great idea. Can you tell us a little bit more about the company?
Yeah, so Renegade Insurance is a newer franchise. So I came in, I did buy a franchise, and I'm going to help grow that side of the business. But what I love about Renegade, and kind of what it sets it apart from some of the other franchises out there that you might have heard of, is they have a very active M&A team, so merger and acquisition team. They're actively seeking out other insurance companies. Perhaps they're looking to retire, they just want to get out of insurance and they want to sell their business. Well, they bring that book to us, and we have the opportunity to purchase it. Renegade does all the back end work to bring all of the policies, all the different carriers to make sure that transition happens. I don't have to worry about that. but I don't have to also go out and seek more, books of business. I can just be presented with them and then have the opportunity to buy them depending on what the terms look like, which really helps me grow. I think in insurance, that's a great way to grow your business is by acquisition. And why
Absolutely.
not partner with someone who's doing all of that work on your behalf?
Absolutely. It sounds like a fantastic service that they're offering for the franchisees, a way to help them get a great launch with the business and help them to make sure that their franchisees are going to have long-term success. So that's fantastic. I know you had said that you've already been doing property and casualty insurance for 7 years. So it's not like Angela is new to this, but she's just taken a larger role in the industry by purchasing this franchise. So I would say that this is an opportunity for people that have already known Angela from working with her in real estate or working with her in her business coaching to grow that relationship with Angela. If you have commercial properties, then I would absolutely encourage you to reach out to Angela by scanning the QR code or clicking on the link. We'd love to get you connected again. Angela has also taken the time to give us some great information about things that are going on in Miami. And I love Miami, by the way. My wife and I go down there a few times a year, in part to see clients, but also just because we love it. It's such it's got a unique culture. There is affluence that is always exciting to see. I mean, you're never going to see, at least in the Southeast, I should say. I live in Atlanta, I work in Atlanta. We have some, exciting cars and luxury and things that you'll see, but it's, I would say, much more concentrated in just a few areas here. Whereas in Miami, you've got the art district, you've got the design district, you've got, South Beach, you've got all kinds of exciting people watching to do in Miami. And so we love getting great updates from Miami. Angela, tell us a little bit about some of the things that are going on in Miami right now.
Yeah, and I might be a little biased because I live down here, but I think Miami is the best city in the entire US. Not only do we have a huge business, opportunity, we're on the water, we have huge airports, we have cruise ships, we have the international influence, we get every type of art, every type of event. I mean, we just had the F1 here, and it just, to me, is the best city in the US to live. So yes, we have hurricanes and that happens, but everybody has their little downfall for their city, but it outweighs by far all the benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, if you don't love the weather compared to other parts of the country, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I know it gets a little hot, but it gets a little hot in a lot of places. At least in Miami, you're going to have a breeze and you're going to have a nice view. One of the things that Angela told us about were some of the events. In fact, speaking of the view, you mentioned that Swim Week was wrapping up. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like I said, we always have things going on. Swim Week was our most recent, just a few days ago. We had probably 10,000 people that came in to the Miami area between networking events, these shows, all of the activities that go around Swim Week. It was just incredible. I had a friend who got to walk it for the first time. She's an international pageant winner, and she was just telling me about like the prep, not only herself physically, right? It's the going on stage, but all of the prep, like finding the location, making sure parking is secured, the food, all of those things that go into Swim Week. So to have that here in Miami was pretty incredible, because we do have that international influence. It's not like your tall, skinny, Caucasian white woman anymore. It's curvy. It's all ethnicities. It's men and women. So to watch the different events that went on all over the city was just, it was pretty unique and fun.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And that was, so it's a week of events. So is that I'm sure it's swimwear competitions, what other kind of stuff is going on at Swim Week?
Yeah, so it's kind of like Fashion Week, maybe that you would see in Paris or New York. Different designers have their own events where they'll have models that walk the runway and show off and showcase their swimwear. We had Megan Thee Stallion, who I'm not a great, I don't listen to her music, but I know who she is.
Yeah.
And so she's a curvy, Black woman. So she came out and had a whole line designed for that. I thought that was pretty cool. I think we had almost 100 different brands. Sports Illustrated was here, Victoria's Secret was here. So all these different brands, not just the big names, but a lot of little names too that are up and coming. So you have the opportunity to, maybe you can't get into Sports Illustrated, you go check out some of the lesser known names so that you can still participate and see. But just a great, Miami parties as well. So you can have things in the morning to, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So it's just a lot going on.
Yeah. I'm sure it's crazy, Swim Week. For one thing, I'm sure a bunch of guys travel in town to Swim Week.
Yes.
There's so many different great events. I know that my clients are, and my wife also, are big bookworms. They're there for, there's a book week, I think typically late November. We attended Art Basel last year. That's going to be a regular thing for us. So we're always going to make one of our visits during Art Basel now, because we like the art scene. There are the F1, like you mentioned, that's I think on a lot of people's minds, especially with the new F1 Brad Pitt movie out right now. That's I think something on a lot of people's minds. That's so cool. I think you have to be in a city that has a certain amount of style, or what do they say, cachet, to be F1. Nashville got one just recently, but Miami's had one for a while. So Miami was cool getting F1 well before some of the other cities.
And the Panthers, our hockey team right now, are in the Stanley Cup finals. So that's pretty incredible. We have lots of sports teams in Miami, but to have a hockey team that's in the Stanley Cup finals is pretty incredible too.
That's crazy. I knew there was a team in Tampa. I didn't even know there was one in Miami.
Yep, we have the Panthers.
That is so cool. That's very cool. And
of course, if you look at billboards in Miami, because we do have a very large Spanish influence, it says "Vamos Gatos," which is "Go Cats."
Yeah, that's cool. I love Latin culture, so I love the food. I love the style. I love a lot of that. I'm not really a flashy guy, but I love seeing the flashy and the flavor and all that. So that's cool. One of the things that you also told me about, and this is you kind of alluded to the hurricanes a little bit earlier. We'll go back to business for just a moment. One of the things that I thought was interesting over the last few years was some of the challenges that had come up with building code. There was a collapse of at least part of a building a few years ago due to a pool that was like almost, I think it was a rooftop pool. And there had been some challenges with the construction that over a period of years, and maybe hurricanes were part of this, contributed to at least a partial collapse of a building. That unfortunately, I think even took a few people's lives. But this is very relevant to commercial insurance. You mentioned how there are some challenges in the condos in Miami right now because of that. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah. So what you were talking about was the Surfside condos. They did collapse in 2021. Almost 100 people lost their lives, and a lot of that was deferred maintenance. Wow. So if we think about
that many people, holy cow.
Yeah. So if we think about who governs what gets done to a condo building like that, it's an HOA. Who sits on the board of an HOA? It's homeowners. So as a homeowner, we have to think about, not what's best for our own pocketbook, but what's best for the community as whole. But a lot of times those budgets have to go to a vote, and then homeowners are voting on that. So I'm glad to see that Florida stepped in and they kind of updated the law that's in place. So if a building is over 30 years old, it has to go through what we call a milestone inspection. It's got several points that it has to meet. And if it doesn't, then these need to be repaired. And part of this change too is to make sure there's enough reserve funds in the HOA so that if repairs need to be made like that for the betterment of, the people that are living there, then the money is going to be there. And so what we're seeing is we have a lot of old buildings, right, in the Miami County area. And so these milestone inspections that had to be done by last year, we're starting to see those HOA assessments hit. And depending on the building, I mean, the building that I'm in, they saw a $40,000 HOA assessment done. Now I'm renting. Yes, right? I'm renting right now because my mentor, Grant Cardone, says don't buy. But, I can't imagine as a homeowner trying to come up with that kind of funds, right? So we're seeing a lot of that. But then on the flip side, we had COVID. And our state was amazing, I felt, during COVID. We did shut down, we did take precautions, but for the most part, we're business as usual. And in Miami, our Mayor Suarez, went to all other different states and he said, hey, come to Florida, bring your business to Florida. We have, educated, we have a workforce, we can give some tax breaks, we are open for business. And so a migration of businesses came, which also brought in, development. We have about 50 different condo complexes right now being developed, either condos or apartment complexes. And you take those aging condos, which now have assessments and people don't want to buy, but then we have this massive supply coming aboard with interest rates still where they're at and property taxes and insurance. So I'm curious to see how this is going to work out for us because I think right now we have about 12 months of supply. So if we stop listing properties today, every buyer, it would still take us a year to buy everything on the market. So I think our condo market is in for a little bit of a trouble in this next couple of years here. I don't really know how we solve that problem. I mean, we have a lot of migration happening, but not enough to fulfill that need that we have of supply coming aboard. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Do you think people are just shifting from condos to just single family homes, maybe going into the burbs so they don't have to deal with the condo issues?
Not in Miami. We don't have a ton of land, right? We're a small sliver between the water and the Everglades. So there's not a lot of homes being built. But what I do see are people moving up north. So they're going past Fort Lauderdale, maybe into West Palm Beach, Vero Beach, because it's more affordable for them to still live close to the water, but not live and have to pay Miami prices.
Wow. Okay. That's good. I learned something today from that. Interesting. And I know that that's going to, I think, create opportunity. I think that anytime you have a big challenge in an industry like that, or in an asset, I should say, it's going to create opportunity for the people that have those large chunks of money, if nothing else. I mean, I think the private equity firms will certainly take advantage of it. I know in some places they're restricting PE firms' ability to go in and do that. But I'm sure the people that have the capital to strike when this imbalance gets worked out, which probably means prices coming down, they're going to be the ones that profit. So that 5-10 years from now, when it's a tight market again, they're going to really profit. So that's interesting. But again, this is part of the reason why it's important to be working with great professionals that can help you to protect your assets. I mean, having someone who works in commercial insurance and can make sure that you're covered if something strange happens in the building is a big deal. Well, that's exciting. One of the things that you had also mentioned, and this is kind of a lighter-hearted story, is you'd mentioned how chickens are taking over Miami. I have to get a quick comment in about this because I don't know if I have any of the chicken images here, but my goofy last name comes from an English tradition. My dad's side of the family was English, where you would your name would oftentimes come from whatever your family, did for a living, so Cockfield meant that that you farmed chickens. The people that had field in their last name, they were farmers. So that my goofy last name basically came from my family raising chickens. This story is near and dear to my heart. So I have to hear about what's going on with chickens in Miami.
Yes, I think when people come to Miami, they're kind of surprised by the amount of wildlife. If you go to west side of Miami, we still have some pretty big farms and ranches and horses. Like the rodeo comes to Miami.
Oh yeah.
But we have wild chickens, we have roosters, we have iguanas, we have peacocks, and they just roam the streets. Now, there's some areas like Little Havana and Wynwood, maybe Little Haiti, that have it a little bit more. And maybe it's a cultural thing, like they allow it to roam because that's what they have back in their country. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you don't typically go to the suburbs and see roosters sitting around. But definitely in parts of Miami, you're going to just see wild chickens and roosters. And they do make noises. And peacocks are actually quite loud as well. So, they look beautiful to walk around. But living by them can kind of be a nuisance sometimes too.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. It is, and it's not a quick little call. I mean, it takes a while.
Yes,
because they are showing off. They're peacocking, as they call it. So that's super funny. Well, I knew that there were chickens kind of wandering around in Key West, but I did not know that there were chickens floating around in Miami. So that's interesting to know.
Yes, you're definitely more likely to see a chicken or a rooster or a peacock than you are an alligator. So, people think about Miami and all the alligators, and they're in the Everglades. They're protected in the Everglades, but they're not those memes where you see them walking across the street. That's very rare for us to see it.
Yeah, that's a little bit further north. Maybe 100 years ago they might have been in Miami, but I don't think anymore. Okay, well that's great stuff, Angela. I know that. You periodically have different events that you promote for potential clients to meet you or do consulting with you and things of that nature. Are there particular events or opportunities to connect that you want to tell the audience about today?
Yeah, so my mentor is Grant Cardone. He's been my mentor for a little over 3 years. I think when it comes to real estate, there's not a better mentorship. There's not a better mentor that will come to the event. I was just spent 2 days, a Saturday and a Sunday, a whole Saturday and Sunday with him, talking about taxes, talking about, the stock market, which he doesn't recommend to invest in. We were talking about Bitcoin because he's doing a new fund where he will go and buy an apartment complex and use the rental income. If I invest with him and partner with him, instead of getting that rental cash flow, I can buy Bitcoin within this fund. And his plan is to do several of these and then take it to the market and become an IPO, which has never been done before. So it'll be very interesting to see, but I can ask him direct questions about the real estate. Obviously he does commercial real estate, so we're not talking about single family homes, things like that, but to be able to have direct access to someone. So if someone's in the Miami area, I constantly give away tickets and bring people with me. Just, like we said, click on the link, scan the QR code, reach out to me. And if there's an event coming up that you're interested in, I can definitely try and get you a free ticket to come meet my mentor and just meet a great group of entrepreneurs and real estate investors.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, Angela, thanks so much for giving us a great update on what's going on in Miami. We're excited for your new venture and can't wait to learn a little bit more the next time when you're hosting the show for us. Angela is going to be hosting some shows for us occasionally, and we're so excited for her to be giving us the scoop in Miami.
I love asking questions, so this is going to be a lot of fun. It'll be great shows.
Outstanding. Okay, thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
All right, bye.